Hello everyone, this is Eugene Fondit speaking. Another year is about to end, and with that, I've watched a whole lot more anime series. But looking carefully, I've never actually gone into detail about some of these, and I really want to talk about them. And so with that thought, I've decided to come up with a 3-part series discussing anime at several extremes, starting with this one. Today, I'll be talking in detail about my top 10 most hated anime series. These, of course, are some of the few anime series I absolutely appall. While I generally have a positive view of most things that I come across, that's not to say that I don't have preferences. But just to clarify, this countdown only includes anime I have completed, because of course, I too would drop a series if it becomes way too out of my liking. And trust me, some of the things I've dropped are just absolutely atrocious. But then of course, there are some I ended up finishing for one reason or another, as we shall now see, in my top 10 most hated anime series. Let's begin! Number 10. Osorno Yo G. Oh boy, this anime could easily have escaped this list if it were a little smarter than this. The anime introduces us to a samurai named Karasuma Yoichi, who is said to have lived in the mountains all his life. One day, finally, he was tasked to go to the city and accommodate himself in a local dojo. And guess who lives in that dojo? Why, none other than 4 sisters. Wow, what do you know? Now, right from the start, I didn't expect anything much from this anime, but I thought it could at least be somewhat decent and come off as average, and what follows can only be described as a harem gone wrong. The most infuriating of all is how the anime reduces the character of Ikagura Ibuki to nothing more than a violent tsundere to keep Yoichi in check following perverted situations. And the sad part is, I initially liked the character. And I guess what really dragged this anime down was its final boss. Are you telling me that was all it took to change his mindset? How freaking lame of an antagonist can this guy be? But that's beside the point. The anime is still quite easy to sit through. Yoichi is a pretty cool guy. Kind of. Because trust me, there are way worse things yet to come. Number 9. Best Student Council. Is it? That's a possibility. But best anime about a student council? Get the fuck out of here. We start off with Rino Rando, who is supposed to transfer to Miyagami Private Academy, but gets into some mishaps along the way. Then for some reason, she ends up in the school's student council. Once again, I entered this anime not expecting much out of it, but I did like the art style, and that made it easy on the eyes. While it didn't really concern me at the start, I soon found how unnecessarily dramatic and depressing this anime was. I mean, sure, they explored the members of the student council and gave them some development. But seriously, did you have to do it this way? And then there is the whole commotion revolving around the Jinguji's secret treasure or power or whatever. What the heck was so precious? A high-pitched long-distance radar ability? The fuck? And oh my god, like seriously, can somebody do something about this goddamn puppet? Ah! If there is one thing I can really fault this anime for, it's that puppet. He is so annoying. In fact, one of the most annoying, non-human-like characters in an anime I have ever seen. And that's for both sub and dub. But still, the anime was kind of engaging, and I was willing to sit through all 24 episodes. JC staff may have made a whole lot of great works throughout its time, but you guys sure fucked up with this one. Number 8. Utakata. What was this anime about again? I don't even know. But it is a sort of magical girl anime which follows Tachibana Ichika, who was given a pendant by her tutors. But as it turns out, the pendant has a secret to it, and along with the mysterious girl Manatsu Kuroki, she was given the task of using up the pendant. Now, unlike the other two, this first episode actually looked really decent, and I was keeping my hopes up for what is to come. But unfortunately, my opinions completely shifted to the negative once the next episode was done. All the side characters were either boring, had unnatural character reactions, or are just plain douches. More still, the anime became really dramatic, and that would have been fine and all if I had known what the hell was going on. Seriously, I had no idea at all, of what was the purpose of the task given to Ichika. It was only at the halfway point of episode 12, the last episode, when anything at all was explained. And it was just in time too, because that episode was good enough for me to give Utakata some leeway and end up with a score of 4 out of 10 stars. But man, watching it felt like such a drag, and there were even moments I actually felt infuriated. But if you think this is bad, oh, just you wait. Number 7. Sleeping with Hinako, an anime where we sleep with Hinako, I guess. This is a 40-ish minute OVA, which is probably the most awkward anime I've ever watched. Straight out, its biggest issue was its first 20 minutes or so, whereby we see nothing but shots of Hinako sleeping soundly. They tried to mix it up by giving us different angles and eye candy fan service, but it's all just to hide their lazy excuse of using recycled animation. And honestly, the anime could have been worse if it had just been that, but there was actually more variety past the 20+ minute mark, and it became more bearable to watch. Honestly though, if the repeated parts were cut out, the anime could have been a standard 25-minute episode. But since they decided to go about another way, I feel like my time was wasted. And some people argue that sleeping with Hinako is actually good in helping people to fall asleep. But if it makes you fall asleep, that means the anime is boring as hell. And personally, I don't need it. I can fall asleep on my own just fine. Number 6. Green. What can I say? This anime is just stupid. And to explain why it's stupid, these 3 idiots having way too much screen time. That alone made Green lose 5 stars. I actually went into this anime because I kept hearing how bad it was, especially by Misty Cronexia and Black Critic Guy.
Another one that's a little more well known would be Green. I fucking hate it.
And speaking of something that is deserving of the grade that it got, we get to the worst anime I have probably seen in my life. Green.
But what surprised me the most was how I kept questioning, how is this anime that bad? There are 2 things I can take away from this anime. The fan service, which kind of offsets the 3 idiots appearing on screen, and more importantly, I was actually engaged in the anime because the anime actually made me interested in Midori and Yusuke's relationship and all that. And even at the episode 12, I was confused as to how this anime was that bad. And then all of it made sense 1 episode later. All that talk about fate and tragedy was the result of Yusuke being a freaking dumbass and end up ruining a relationship that could otherwise have been saved from some bullshit called fate, which may or may not have happened. At the end of it all, it felt like everything Midori did in the anime was pointless. More evidence as to why this anime is stupid. Oh yeah, remember I mentioned that doll in Best Student Council? This time, can someone shut this bitch up? She's probably the most annoying human female character, if not character, in anime ever. But to be honest, this anime can't possibly be my most hated anime, solely because of the fact that I was engaged in it. Even so, the anime could have ended up average if they had just gotten rid of the 3 perverted fucks that contribute almost nothing to the story. Well, what can you do? Whoever made Green was just stupid, I guess. Number 5. Epitan. For your information, astronomy is spelled with 1 S, not 2 S's, you dumbasses. This anime is centered around the Astronomy Club. See, I can't even take this name seriously. It is one of those anime I would have dropped because of how bad it is. The only reason I finished it was because it only had 10 episodes. But seriously, I can't think of anything I really like from this anime. The story? What story? There is no freaking story that makes any sense at all. The characters are all annoying, undeveloped, and literally pointless. There is even this one girl that is pretty much misused and is nothing more than an easy display of fan service. Now, this anime is supposed to be a parody anime that contains Easter eggs from other anime. But the big problem is, it's not funny to watch. There is literally nothing in this anime that seems intelligent, and that makes makes it unbearable to watch. However, the one saving grace of this anime came in episode 10. This episode was so different from anything else I've seen in the entirety of the anime, and it actually was pretty good. It was so good, in fact, that it's just saved this anime from being the very bottom. But regardless, this anime is still a huge waste of time, even if the last episode was good. Number 4. Ragna Strike Angels. Now hear me out here. This is a 12 episode anime with an average runtime of 30 seconds. That's a 6-minute long anime, leading to some claims that it is the shortest anime ever. This anime is about several girls that are able to turn gigantic and fight off some sort of giant monsters. I have always wanted to see an anime like this, and I was excited when I found out about this. But then the anime ended up being so damn short and my heart just sank. It was such a tease. Such a freaking tease. Not only that, throughout its entirety, the anime tends to waste time on unimportant scenes, and that led to so many unanswered questions. Like seriously, come on Satellite, you guys were practically making an anime anyway. Why limit it to only 30 seconds per episode? If that's all there is to it, this freaking sucks. So please, let there be more. Number 3. Pupa. This anime is notoriously known for how bad it is, and like Green Green, I wanted to find out why. Even more so because it only has 12 4-minute long episodes. At first, the anime seemed fairly decent with some thriller mystery elements in place, but as we progress, it becomes extremely clear how this anime could go wrong. Constantly, the anime would bring in new reviews that only bring about more unexplained questions. And worst of all, some of these reviews seem to contradict each other, and the whole thing loses sense. And even more disappointing, the anime is short of time as it is, and yet they had the guts to make episode 12 nothing more than a useless filler. Honestly, the anime should technically be 11 episodes long, but from that alone, the story was really incoherent and the end result left me confused as hell. What the heck happened, Studio Dean? Higurashi no Nakukoro ni was great. You're not even trying with this one, but I did end up giving it some leeway because to be fair, it was really short. Plus, the technical aspects of the anime looked alright, and who knows what would have come about if it was given more time. Number 2. Sesame Magical Girls Club. This anime... Seriously, this anime... The story, as you can tell from the title, is about several magical girls. Throughout the first 4 episodes, we are introduced one by one to the main characters of the anime. Things seemed to be going fine at first, as it looked rather average. But then, my first major concern came as we passed episode 4. The anime's depiction of magic was limited, and the subpar animation did not help make it more interesting. Not only that, the instructor of the girls, Kozuka Washu, came off as overly commanding, and it became irritating to watch her constant yapping. Jesus Christ. But believe it or not, all of that in season 1 was bad, but it wouldn't have dragged the anime down to what it is. However, things were only going to get worse in season 2. The thing that infuriated me the most was how they made a character I initially sympathized with turn into, I'm not gonna hold back, a literal bitch.
I'm fabulous! Oh!
And you know what? I'm not even going to hide who it is. This character I'm talking about is Shinohara Misao. Her 180 change was not only infuriating, it was unnatural. Then we get to a point where the girls were all arguing about Misao's action, and that only made me hate her more. At the same time, I don't know what the hell was going on there. Then we get to the final battle, which I don't even know what the heck happened. And finally, the ending was just nothing more than a confusing cliffhanger that did nothing but deliver the final blow. Now, the only reason I was engaged in the anime is because I was interested in Makoto's power, and I wanted to see more of it. But what I got was negligible, and very disappointing. But even putting that aside, I probably wouldn't have dropped this anime immediately. So you might be wondering why this anime is so high in the list. And that's because, on top of infuriating the heck out of me, I could not find any highly redeemable qualities. The action scenes were god-awful, the art style was rather sketchy, and the character designs, are you serious? The attire of the girls were freaking atrocious, and let's not forget Washu's crazy hairdo, holy crap. The story itself was reasonable, but in no way engaging. And then finally, the main characters lack any form of individuality when they're on the same side. They will all just be in sync, agreeing with each other. That was freaking boring! All in all, Sesame Magical Girls Club was a case where the negatives were so significant that they offset any positives that it may have had. And for a long time, it remained my most hated anime I have completed. And it would have stayed that way if I hadn't seen the final one on this list. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, number 1. Mars of Destruction. Do I even need to explain why this is here? Oh well, I guess I will. This 19-minute long OVA starts with some alien invasion of some sort, and so on and so forth. And for a short time, oh my god, were there so many issues. The animation was terrible, probably one of the worst I've ever seen in any anime, and that led to some of the most unbelievably boring action scenes I have ever seen. Some cuts were so badly done, I couldn't help but laugh. And then we have the character reactions, which look retarded as fuck. And if you know me, if there is one thing I can't stand in anime, it's retardation. And besides the point, I could have sworn I heard some sort of orchestra piece somewhere in the score. But what really made it also infuriating was near the end, when a really interesting twist was revealed. That sounded like a really cool concept, but then the OVA just ended. So it created this major dilemma. On one side, I don't want to watch any more of this because of how awful it looks. But on the other side, I want more because I want to know what it all means. But you know what? I think the best thing would be if this anime never existed. And I know the anime may be short, but that doesn't excuse it from having awful animation. In fact, the studio's not being able to get the animation right when one episode is all they have to deal with is even more shocking. And I've not heard of these studios Wild World and Idea Factory before, but I don't think I'll hear from them again after creating one of the worst anime series as agreed upon by many. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are my top 10 most hated anime series that I have completed. Now I know now that the list is out, I'm sure a lot of you would be in the comments going, what about this anime? How could you have forgotten about this anime? Etc, etc. And I can just guess some of the popular suggestions. How about Sword Art Online, or School Days, or Boku no Pico? Now, I don't know about Boku no Pico, and I don't plan on watching it, but in response to the other two, while they each have their own flaws, they are far from being my most hated anime series. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that they are far from being the worst anime series ever. The only reason you would think otherwise is because you have not seen a lot of bad anime. Not that I'm saying that you should if you don't want to waste your time, but it is good to watch some bad anime so that it makes you appreciate some of the ones that you might have thought were the worst anime has to offer. But enough rambling, what do you guys think about this list? Did you agree with it or did you disagree with it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Now with this first part complete, we're going to cut down on all the negative stuff and enter more delightful things that would put a smile on your face. Or it could potentially trigger you guys if you don't agree with my list. And the next one is gonna be a surprise. What could it be? Find out soon enough. Until then, do stay tuned to the next time of whatever I make. Until next time, bye!